I'll call. A complete brain freeze. Cool. Call to order, regular meeting for the Nuevo Leon's City Council on this day, the 23rd of February. The time is now 5:30. Roll call, please.
Mary Scott, if we're able to say the Pledge of Allegiance, then is our next item on the agenda.
Okay. It says pledge of allegiance. Using all of it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Counselor Goodet. Here. Counselor Proctor.
Here.
Counselor Taylor.
Here.
Counselor Leesville. Here. Very good.
Good. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second that. Second.
Counselor Leesville. Aye. Counselor Taylor.
Aye.
Counselor Goodet. Aye. Counselor Proctor.
Aye. Are there any items that would like to be removed from the consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Counselor Proctor.
Aye.
Counselor Goodet. Aye. Counselor Leesville. Aye. Counselor Taylor.
Next item would be public comments. Is there anyone in the crowd would like to address this? This time.
I would like to address the council and the mayor and thank you for allowing me to participate in the work of our community. In reference to, we've had two great chairmen on the Economic Development Committee. And I understand it was initially set up as a token committee for us to get grants. However, it's much more than that. And we have a new addition this week that has helped inspire and giving us hope to work with other committees to bring some alignment to our community. Now, I have a concern and I need to make sure that I understood this correctly. Did you say at one of our last meetings that the city does not pay for attorneys or attorney?
I believe so.
Did you say that the city does not pay the attorney? Is that what you said?
No, ma'am. She's actually, we are paying, but she's actually under contract through the municipal league.
Okay, is that public record
As far as I know, yes, ma'am.
that we can get that? Do you have, because there was a lot of concern over our legal estates, and I'm talking to two of our seasoned counselors of how much we were paying for legal fees. And so is there a record of how much and what is paid and how it's paid?
Certainly.
Okay, because I think there's people in our community that have some concern over that. And so I'll do more research on that and get back with you to see if we can clarify that. And then I really appreciate the transparency and us supporting one another, even looking at solidifying our foundation so we're not so critical of each other and that we're receptive, not only just hear people in our community, but truly listen and get some response when concerns are given. And later, maybe we can look at suggestion boxes or how can we communicate on a regular basis. And then we had talked about with the crisis in our community, how we can set up some leadership in our neighborhoods. When, you know, many things happen and they seem to be non-ending. But if we can establish some process of how to give support, especially to people that cannot drive and need special assistance in dire times. So that's a concern, and thank you.
Anyone else? The next up will be. Councilor.
Speaking about our attorney's fees, I do know that our attorney's fees, what we're paying now is a heck of a lot less than what we were paying Mr. Underwood. Probably less, it's just. I was told what one was, and I'm not gonna beat it, but I'm just saying, we're paying a 12,000 a month. Mr. Underwood. And we're not even paying close to that. Going through the self-insurance through the municipal league on the attorney that's representing us right now. So.
Yes.
I'd like to address that as well, Ms. Stearman. On the council, we have 2 new counselors and 2 seasoned counselors. And you didn't talk to me. It sounds like you didn't talk to Mr. Proctor, but I would love to talk to you about how it was and how it is and how it works.
Thank you.
I'll give him a call.
And I don't want, I want to see records. You know, what documentation.
Yeah, and so that's done through it.
Yeah.
The city clerk. And
Okay, thank you very much.
That would come under the IPRA. For those, Ms. Starman, you could go through with the city clerk and they print anything off you want. And I'd like to make a recommendation to the council and to the mayor that we drop the price of the IPRA pages from $1 to 50 cents a page. Most places charge a quarter, 30 cents. We're charging $1. And I don't know why it jumped up there so quick, but it did.
I can explain that to you. We'll talk later.
And I think we need to probably drop it. Because what I'm getting at on that, it's instead of double copying that we've only got one page. It was, I'm not saying it is now, but it was that they would take something that was double copied, front and back. They would just copy one page front and that was it. And you got charged for that.
Okay.
So. If you want to find out, that's Bonnie Richardson, she pays like $70 for the report.
Okay,
So
yeah, we can address it for sure.
I'm just, that's something we need to look at for the committee, for the citizens. And I don't know if the committees should even be charged anything or not. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, if it's for the committee,
I would think,
I'll
yeah,
report for the committee, or if it's individual, but you'd have to have the chair of the committee probably sign off on something to say that that's what it's for. I don't know.
yeah, we can address it for sure. Anyone else?
I do have a comment.
Yes,
I just wanted to invite the community to look into some of the boards and committees that are for the city. And hopefully we can get some more volunteers and members. The Parks and Beautification Committee is taking new members, and I believe others may have some spaces open as well. So if you have any questions or are interested, call somebody from, you can call me for the Parks and Beautification one, but Selena has all the contact information for the other ones.
yes, sir.
Is it on the internet? Can you
yeah,
go and
they're-
see who's?
They're posted on our website, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? Next will be the mayor's comments. Been a week. But I'm saying that every week it seems lately, but that's okay. There's a lot of good work that's been done, and you'll see it a little later in the meeting as we get approval for something. We are diligently trying our best to get this thing going as fast as we can. It's taking more time than I'd like. That is what it is. We've got to make sure that we're doing it correctly. So, be assured that we are, and that's basically what I've got. So moving on to new business. Item A would be approval of the audit services contract with Patino, Brown and Hill LLP for fiscal year 2024 in the amount of $32,288, including GRT.
I make a motion to approve, discuss item A as stated by the mayor.
I'll second.
Ready for discussion?
Okay.
Mayor, is this a forensic audit? Or
And this is, so we are currently 3 years, about 2, I guess technically, right? Once with them. Something that we inherited. This is process that we need to do in order to get up again. When they're doing the audit, if they find something substantive, then we fall back upon, we have to go a different direction, but this is the audits and the audit company that is, required by the state for each municipality.
We have Chris Garner from the vendor on Zoom.
Okay.
Signing for question. Chris, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So. Any other questions?
I have a question. So I looked, the two items are separate on the agenda, but the paperwork is exactly the same. Is that correct? Okay, but we're just specifically addressing the 24-25 audit. And the 23-24 has never been approved. Where did it go to?
It is fading now, correct?
Oh,
The 23 audit.
Mayor, members of council, 22-23 is being reviewed by the Office of the State Auditor currently. So 23-24 is this item right here.
Okay, but it says 24.
Yes, that's, they recognize the fiscal year as 24, but it's part of 23.
I see, because it ends on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that makes sense. But did the council ever?
No, it's never been done. This is the initial, we're just now doing it.
The one that you said that the state already has.
That's fiscal year 23.
Right, did one of the.
It hasn't
It's-
approved it yet. They are
It's
the
still
state
in
level.
review for acceptance at the Office of the State Auditors currently.
Oh, so then we approve it after they've seen it?
Yeah, after they've given the review and issued any commentary on it.
All right, thank you.
I do have a question for Chris. So we see you're projecting 220 hours. Is that something typical, or is that based off of what you foresee?
So thank you, Mayor and councilors. That is our projection based off of what we've reviewed your prior audits, what we feel it will take to complete the audit. In New Mexico, we have to follow not only auditing standards, but we also have to follow government auditing standards, which requires us to test internal controls above and beyond what regular auditing standards do. And then the state audit rule also expands that testing. So it's based upon our knowledge. It is a fixed fee price. So even if it takes us 300 hours, we will not charge more than what you've been proposed. And so it is a fixed fee contract.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any further discussion?
Having sat through this process before we got so far behind, I am impressed with their projected cost. And my recommendation to the counselors would be that we go ahead and approve this.
Absolutely.
Further question?
So what we covered item B, they're gonna be doing these audits currently?
Believe consecutively, but they're in the queue so that as soon as we get one, the next one's up and we're ready to rock on it.
The reason I asked that, if something comes up with the 24 audit, they're gonna push the 25 audit out.
I guess potentially it could, depending on what they put for to find. Maybe that's a question.
Chris, did you catch that?
Sure.
About-
We will get through the 24 audit and, get that submitted to the state auditor. Just like, to be honest, once this contract has been approved by council, we've already gotten a little bit of information from the city, and we will start selecting samples and getting the audit going here pretty quickly. We will do the same thing. We will not wait for the state auditor to approve since we have the contract already signed. Once we get done and we're comfortable with the numbers, we can get going on FY25, no matter if there are issues or not. So the plan is to try and get you caught up as soon as possible so that you guys can be, caught up with the state auditor's requirements.
Yeah, we're in a time crunch. For obvious reasons.
I mean, to be honest with you, the only consequence might be is you don't have time to, if we come up with issues, you might have findings that are repeated just because the city hasn't had time to respond. But other than that, it really shouldn't slow things down.
Okay. So I
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Any other discussion?
I read the contract, read the paperwork, so. It become highly recommended.
I would move for a motion to approve the audit services contract for Patillo Brown and Hill LLP for fiscal year 2024.
We do have a motion on the floor. Would be able to call roll.
Okay, sorry.
Counselor Taylor,
Aye.
Counselor Lacewell,
Aye.
Counselor Gutierrez,
Aye.
Counselor Proctor.
Aye.
Okay. Moving to item B, approval of the audit services contract with Portillo Brown and Hill LLP for fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $32,288, including GRT.
Make a motion to approve item B, approval of all the services as read by the mayor. I'll second.
Then discussions.
Thank you, sir.
They call the answers, they've been, I, Lolly, Dee's Crotty, and the Q's got the old tables.
Never heard that before. I like it.
Gotta have something to keep.
I do have a question.
This one?
On the second one, the financial impact does change. So the remaining balance of 12,712. That would be adjusted from 2024. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor, members of council, our current budget covers the single audits. For unknown reasons, 2 audits were anticipated, even though we were far behind. So that difference, the 12,000, will have to be an adjustment and it'll be included in our third quarter report. Separate from the resolution we have before you tonight. So that transfer will have.
Any other questions? Answer? Okay. Ready for roll call?
Counselor, Lacewell. Aye. Counselor Taylor.
Aye.
Counselor Proctor.
Aye.
Counselor Gutierrez.
Aye.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank
sir.
you.
Item C would be approval of the agreement with Mountain Zombie LLC for marketing services in the amount of $54,000.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Matt Ingram, owner of Mountain Zombie LLC. My associate colleague and partner, Courtney Smith. We have presented a fiscal year 26-27 marketing campaign to Rio Doce Downs in the form of scope of service agreement with our company to facilitate social media services, website development, as well as New Mexico True co-op funding requirements from the New Mexico Tourism Department. And so here we sit in front of you today, asking to come and be a part of the team and see how we can kind of change the narrative a little bit for Rio Doce Downs, put some coordinated effort behind our messaging, as well as work with the New Mexico Tourism Department to facilitate some co-op funding. With the co-op funds, we will need a match fund from the municipality directly to the tourism department. They will do a 2-to-1 match, and ultimately our opportunity to work with the state and facilitate a marketing campaign across, really most of our demographic will be that, the West Texas demographic. Most of our driving communities will be focused on their digital media buys and social media spends. And so just kind of our effort to step in and see if we can't leverage some of the resources that are offered by the state or a local independent marketing firm. We currently manage and run the social media and outbound messaging for Lincoln County as well. And so we are looking to hop on board and help you guys with messaging, both from as a citizen as well as a tourist alike. So we presented a budget there kind of in front of you guys to kind of dissect. This is budget that we would like to work with New Mexico Tourism Department to facilitate a campaign with them and to run our social media campaign accordingly. Right now, there is no Instagram, there is no TikTok, and there is no YouTube specific to Ruidoso Downs or a good coordinated effort in controlling some of those assets with our team. It is our goal, and to kind of work across the community partners with Lincoln County, Ruidoso, as well as the city of Ruidoso Downs to this.
A motion to discussion.
So I'll make a motion to approve the item C is stated on the mayor.
Second.
So,
Mayor?
or for discussion.
It's for the. No.
Okay.
And there is the council, before you is a copy handout of the agreement drawn up by our legal counsel. Yeah, it was on in your, pass out. That is the actual contract.
Mayor, I have a question for the team. Where is your home base? Where do you all live?
We currently live in Rio del Sol. We have several properties there, and then we also have properties in Cloudcroft, New Mexico. So we're across Lincoln County and Otero. Born and raised, that's
Councilors, I've been working with the Large Tax Committee for these last 4 years, and they have been working on this idea for about 7 years. And the glitches they kept coming up against were ridiculous, and it had to do with some of the staff in the admin office, and they're not there anymore. I think this is an exceptional opportunity, the prices, what the largest tax is willing to pay, and I think this is just a wonderful opportunity. And now.
Okay.
I just fixed that, this is covered, I was in the meeting, as was, Councilor Taylor. And they presented a good presentation there, they presented one here that was a bit, compressed for the rest of the council and the audience, but this is a good thing to get our city back in running Ruidoso and let people know that we are a damn city separate from Ruidoso. The racetrack is in Ruidoso Downs. And this is what I think will get us over the hump and get away from being considered part of Ruidoso. This is all through the large tax.
I have questions about that.
You risk?
Is that correct that this is all through the largest tax spend, or something that's coming out of the general fund for it?
Mayor, members of council, Councilor Taylor. So largest tax is dedicated and allocated only towards tourism and advertising expenditures, which this would be. Any funding that they would have suggestions to make purchases on behalf of would have to come to the largest tax, as it was an anticipated expenditure when we initially did our budget.
Okay, so reading through the project here. Make sure you're talking. I got the impression at the largest tax meeting, we kind of got off on two different tracks. There was the tourism promotional track, and then there was a website update for the city.
Mhm.
Are those two different things? How do they overlap? But
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and councilors. We have a contract with Revised Website, who handles the county the city website. What they have proposed is an actual standalone site for the marketing side of things. So we do have the municipal contract, which we would be comfortable working with to help. I'm not sure the current status with the city website and Revise. If typically every 4 years, you'll be up for a complete update, which we can definitely help facilitate. We've reached out to Revise to facilitate what we're calling like a micro site. It has to be a standalone tourism site. It can't be a municipal site. for the New Mexico True campaign to work off. That being said, they'll have pixels so they can to, their campaign and see where our dollars are being spent, basically at the best capacity. And so, with that, this is developing a tourism focused website with Revise.
So the website we have now, when you pull it up for Rudos Downs, that's a Revise branded website. But I guess, okay, explain right quick, what is Revise?
I'm sorry, so Revise is the company that works with municipalities to facilitate websites.
We use their
And you use their services.
service.
And we're actually right now doing a whole remodel of the Lincoln County website, and they use the Revise platform as well. And so if we're talking about cross platforms here, we're able to, I could go onto the website tomorrow and start making edits there. So we feel comfortable to make those edits, help with that website development. So I think that's an easy narrative for us to take on and kind of get that site built out for more ADA compliance is one thing that we noticed that wasn't really up to speed there. And I think that would need to just kind of come in due time as we start the marketing. I think we need to kind of get things rolling there with all the other stuff that we can definitely help with website.
So do you know, or Selena, do you know who is handling our website now?
Mayor, members of the council, each department head has their own editor on their particular page. But everything you see in the news list or any type of assistance, I would help anyone who had needed. They would just sign our acknowledgement form that they don't misuse or put any type of inappropriate content on our website. So right now, as it stands, Lodgers Tax does pay for our current website, runs a little over $3,000 a year, and it is our four-year annual renewal. Which we are in the process of having ADA compliant. I believe the deadline is April of this year. And so with Matt's proposition of the 10,000 that's included in your proposal, that would be an expenditure the city would procure separate than this contract that's on the table tonight, so that it does not over exceed the $60,000 threshold. So Revise currently is just our plain legal notices. The Sunshine Law Act's requirements are fulfilled and satisfied through our current home-based website. This would be a link towards more of our geared towards our tourists, whereas our current website would stand more for residents who are more affected by the area. So it had that kind of separation so that they're not, mixed with the two, so that make sure our residents are knowing what's going on.
So that portion there, the local website, the government website, how does that continue to be paid for if we take them on as a tourist?
It would just be an additional cost. The procurement would,
Lodgers tax?
yes, and because our largest tax currently pays for our governmental,
Okay.
because we do share content that it has for advertising and promotional, so that expenditure is permissible because it does have advertising and promotional content within it.
Selena, I'm sorry, were you
Don't go ahead.
So Selena, if a resident gets on our city website or a tourist gets on our city website, will they be able to click on something related to tourism and it'll pop over to what you guys are gonna be doing? Is it?
Yes, ma'am, I would love that. Yeah, just backlinking is really important. We'll do that for a lot of the businesses and municipalities around. Just to kind of create that traffic from one website to the other. And really where websites live anymore, everything's the AI, the ChatGPT era that we live in. Google AI overview, where most of your search results will come in the first paragraph of you see the little highlighted blue whenever you go to Google. So a lot of this content will live on our page, but will be pulled through, through the, on AI basically and through those channels. One of our promotions and pushes to get every one of the businesses in Ruidoso Downs, as well as all the lodging onto our website, so that we have just a way and a number of ways to engage our tourists. Yeah, promote and engage our tourist facilities. as well as just kind of engage with the citizens as well. But have all of the businesses on that website. It's gonna be an easy. We have built a website, and I didn't pull it up. It's called visitwinco.com, and you can see that is the site that the county uses to facilitate their New Mexico true co-op going through. So it would be something very similar. That was done with Visit Widget, who typically handles Ruidoso's page, but we found that revised website's a little bit more cost effective and easier to work and facilitate.
So because we are in Ruidoso Downs, we are very limited on space and as well as businesses. How many businesses do you have lined up that would be getting the exposure? Because I know of a lot of businesses that work out of homes, and I mean, Jeanette's not here, she's on, she doesn't want to hear that.
She's on Zoom.
Okay, but how are you gonna pull those ones that are hidden deep within the streets?
Sure, absolutely. Mr. Mayor, Council, my question, my answer to that would be, I think we could start with the business registration through Ruidoso Downs. If that's not obtainable, then we could reach out to the county and find, those businesses that might lie off the main drag. Absolutely. Our idea would really be, focus on the places that you can stay, that you can eat. And then I think we can kind of start running down that business. But I think if you're a registered business, register with Ruidoso Downs to have a business registration in the city, I think that you'd be highlighted on there and procure that list and start there. A lot of it's going through Facebook, driving down the road and hey, or a business owners hits us up and we're not on your website. Well, it's not a problem. Let's take a picture, source some of that info offline, do some backlinking to your website. Also, for people that don't have websites, it's also a good opportunity for them to have some digital space. And then again, that AI will source that information off of our website. But it's pretty interesting talking with the New Mexico Tourism Department. Their website is down close to 30 to 40% because of these new habits that we have online with utilizing AI. So websites, though, are kind of becoming a little bit outdated. That information is sourced from those platforms onto those channels that that a lot of people use with chat and all the other AI offerings out there. So.
So in short, all this money goes to tourism or business advertising. Stay in your lane, right?
Absolutely, and market
That's it.
six.
I mean, I don't want to cut you short. That's the way I understand it. It's just a simple explanation.
Yes, sir. Marketing 60 miles outside of our corridor for lodgers tax. We want to bring people into the community from outside of the community. We just drove in from Texas today, and there's a lot of billboards driving people to Sierra County up there in TRC, and you're on the road, and we do have some visibility out there, but I'd like to see a coordinated effort from all parties.
So, speaking of the New Mexico True, grants that are available. So we all know that this is, very typical of Ruidoso Downs. We cannot obtain grants right now because of the audits that are incomplete. Do you project that that's gonna affect us?
I think that's a very good question, and to go back to that would really just be relying on the relationship that we have up there with the tourism department. If there's some things that we need to disclose to them to make sure that we're on track to, being able to facilitate these grants. I think we need to start that conversation pretty soon with Erin Lavin, and that's Selena and I have been in kind of contact with her, letting her know our idea of putting in. So we haven't gotten a no from her yet. However, I think that that'd probably be something that we need to navigate.
So, because my concern is, we're spending this money and we're not gonna be able to use this. We're not gonna get our money's worth for the fiscal year. And if we can't obtain, the co-op with New Mexico True.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Did I interrupt anybody? So Maria, one thing I noticed on this is it's actually for the fiscal year 26-27, so that gives us a pretty good
Right.
4 months to get the audits done. This winter or Selena or Mayor, do you know how long the projected time is for to get these audits completed? You do?
I think the understanding is that, they'll have the two that we've just proposed done by the end of June. And in July, they will start and have the cast will be caught up by the end of December.
So then we would qualify to promote 27 potentially for.
And Mayor, members of council, just to get the term of this contract, Ms. Winters and I and Mr. Ingram have tried to compile the information necessary, which is the handout. The actual term would be for the year February calendar year to next February 2027. So the term, if there is no challenging of that term, it could be throughout. So part of the contract could be paid, and we're hoping that the terms would be a monthly invoicing. That way that we have funding for both this year and next year fiscally to be able to afford. And there is funds currently to pay for the entire contract in this fiscal year. That's just some of the details that we're gonna have to agree upon before the item is actually approved or disapproved. But a monthly invoicing, is that, can you speak to a little bit of your billings?
Sure. Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, typically what we do is a monthly recap and review of all of our efforts that go in. It's really just a way of us being transparent. I would soon do it every 30 days. And typically how we manage our billing is, post the 30-day mark. So we'll facilitate 30 days, submit the invoice and keep moving from there. Does that answer the question? Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a few questions?
Certainly.
Okay. So this is like two phases. We got $36,000 for the New Mexico True campaign and then 18 for social media. Excuse me. If for whatever reason we find out that they're not eligible for the Mexico True funding because of an audit issue, that would suspend your work on that portion of the contract, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna put some language in. Okay.
Yeah, and if there's no ability really to run a co-op funding, paying someone, $18,000 to run your social, we're not gonna get a whole lot of bang for our buck out of that. Really our idea is to try to take it to the state, have a big budget that we can actually get some traction for. You guys do a good job on your Facebook, we're not gonna lie, as far as being a citizen living here, it's very informative. Our approach was if you're not a citizen here and you're a tourist, what type of experiences can you have out here? So yes, I'm very optimistic that we can work with New Mexico True. They have been just very outgoing and promoting the resiliency and recovery of this area. And I think that narrative, especially up there in Santa Fe right now, is a way that they can kind of help us down here kind of bounce back. And so we are optimistic with that. However, yes, if it comes down to and there's no, New Mexico True effort going into this, that we would be willing to facilitate a social media campaign with you as well. One thing we did put on there was a $10,000 discretionary marketing budget directly from the Lodgers Tax Committee. So this would be an opportunity for us to maybe promote some of these special events that have been approved with Lodgers tax funding, the tattoo conventions, the 4x4 rallies, that type of stuff. So we could do a really cool, organic, unique campaign. There again, I think if we can leverage the state, we'll actually get some kind of a better bang for our buck there.
You got another question and. It's a question I hate to ask, but needs to be asked. We don't have a racetrack, we don't have a museum, what are y'all gonna advertise?
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate the question because we've been racking our brain on that. And one thing I think we moved from is an event-based marketing strategy to an experience-based marketing strategy. We get an opportunity to tell where we're located. We have a bunch of hotels that we can go in and highlight and showcase, as well as, we've talked about the museum. I know that there's gonna be some efforts going back into the museum and getting that open. But I mean, the racetrack being out, it's 45 days out of our season. And so how do we tell that message year round of being, the gateway to the mountains here? And we're open for it. We really are. We've racked our brand at being highlighting the businesses. We want to really promote not where we've been, but who we're going to be. It's funny, you look at our logo on there and there's racehorses on there. And we really identified ourselves with that industry. In the last 3 years, you know, the racetrack's been hit or miss there as well. And so how do we look to the future? And, you know, I think that there's, you know, highlighting the people that live here, the experiences that we do have, some sort of, cost effectiveness of staying here in Ruidoso versus some of these higher, you know.
Rather than Ruidoso
Yeah,
Downs.
rather-
It's more affordable here, so we wanna highlight that too, but you can still be close to all the amenities there, so I mean, well, we have our own stuff here, so.
Well, the lodgers tax, everybody in there, they want people in their hotels.
Mhm.
So that, I mean,
Yes.
that's, well, they're throwing the money out here.
Yeah, you know, I think
That's good.
another campaign of just getting the event goers and growers to come through town. You know, we've had, I believe, three events so far with Ruidoso Downs. You know, I'm excited to see what becomes and what comes through. I know that we have Xterra, who have a personal working relationship with that group, the Iron Man. And so maybe how could we kind of extend some of these things that are coming through here, down in here into Ruidoso, into the Downs, you know? Love to see more bike trail and interconnectivity happen. I think that's a big push that we've seen across the village happen and the county as well. And how do we bring in some of these other efforts, not just the racing side of things. So outdoor recreation, I think would be a huge one. The UTV, the side by sides from Hale Lake. You know, yeah, we got the gun range and things like that going on. I mean, we're telling an outdoor story a little bit more so. And so we're open to that. I mean, we're stepping into the headlights. We talked about that. This is our community. We see the negative a lot, and I think everyone does, but how do you kind of control that positive message as well? And we can direct people to that website as well. And, you know, we want you to come here and stay here safely, but if there's some emergency updates on this site that could be beneficial to you while you stay here. I think the world's kind of our oyster as we look to do tourism in a recovery effort like this. It's, you know, it's going to be tough, but you look at places like Maui that have bounced back and done, you know, campaigns that recovery and readiness. And I think that we could create some of that messaging.
It's a minute, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they're still gonna have the horse races here this year. So that's a big event. That draws a lot in, and that's a lot of money to spend here. So. This one.
I think it's a good idea for us to collaborate with the village. So they already have established things. If we could get in on a tail end of that or extend the bike races over and way over into here. Is that something that's on your plate as well? I think.
You know, I would love to just, from the community standpoint, and now if there was a directed effort towards city, we just, now I think we are missing a lot of those opportunities. They're coming through, and it would be nothing, I think, really to extend that and get some of these, hotels and the city of Ruidoso Downs maybe to participate. Maybe we could get them as a, you know, an active sponsor or a place to house some of these athletes. And really just kind of starting that message, you know, back and forth. And I know that I talk with the Xterra group, you know, like once a month, you know, as they come back in here and getting the new bike shop up and facilitating that's going to support the Xterra group. We see those conversations already happening. I don't think we need to stop down here at City of Ruidoso Downs.
I think we need more continuity than we've had in the past, for sure. So, and again, I think at some point we may need to look at some rebranding. You know, as things change, we've got to change with the times, so.
Did anyone notice the owl in the tree?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I was just like, maybe at some point that will come out, or they're wild horses, or if the racetrack comes back, we don't know. You know, how big of a rebrand we want to do with that, but again, you know, there's horse racing on our logo, and to be kind of an evergreen community and a rebrand, maybe that does change, and I'm not, you know, suggesting that until, you know, we could get some community buy-in and or people that want to be a part of that. But what we saw with the county was, you know, once we had started reaching out to the RV parks, people came out of the woodwork to help, and they were actually stimulating and starting posting on their social media. And there's a whole economic development that ultimately happens if we can champion for that, show them how to do it, show them that these resources belong, kind of increase our digital footprint out there is kind of the idea. With just some kind of training to these people in the area.
I do have a question, but I would like to invite Joey into the conversation.
no. I'm not here today.
What kind of recreation activities do we currently have and what are we capable of? Because, you know, yes, I would like to see trails. I would like to see Sarah Bike Trail, you know, we have the one.
There's a lot that we could get involved in, like I've sat with a bunch of people with the Forest Service. There's talks they'd like to connect trails from the village down this side, they're talking about a four-wheeler trail that's gonna go from Hell Lake up by Cherokee Mobile up there and come back out. There just needs to be more people from down here involved to push these things, it's me and Israel only, and we get over the moon, but we have 80 acres behind the spring, I mean, there's national forest borders that's basically on 2.5 sides. We need to push as the city to get more involved with the outdoor recreation and Forest Service side. And there's definitely activities, I mean, we have 7 baseball tournaments here somewhere. You know, that brings people in, the RV parks down there, there's a ton of them.
The loaded skate park as we came in, you
Yes.
know, we're, taking some pictures of the kids down there at the skate park and the softball as well.
You just need to provide things more of an outdoor promotion of everything outdoors for now, you know, until we figure out where we're going in the future.
And there's a lady in our community who wants to establish an equestrian presence where, and her property abuts the Forest Service, mine does as well. So if we could develop trails with the cooperation of Forest Service for equestrian events, we don't even have to change the logo.
There you go. Yeah. Always thought,
So,
you know, they're behind the racetrack, connecting all that stuff up Johnson Canyon back to the back of Eagle Creek, where all of those UTVs, Lance runs, all of this stuff up 120 there. There's a lot of inner trail connectivity that could happen from there. And there is roads there already, but I'm not they're closed off. So it's not much, and we've got to see the city do a lot of that. You know, over 90 miles there that the city put up. Unfortunately, a lot of those got lost in the fire. So here we are, just kind of back to square one, but they're growing, the sawmill over there, the connectivity to the reservation. I mean, I think it could be a mecca for cycling down here big time.
Want to say something?
Yes, mayor, members of council, I just wanted to shine the light on these funds. that are Available specifically towards these kind of expenditures. If this is disapproved, does funds stay there? The city of Rosetown stays hidden and is up to someone here at the city who already has more than enough workload to try and do this. I mean, I just want to let that be known. This, I mean, everyone is gonna continue on Highway 70 towards the village where they know exactly a listing of where they can stay.
Right.
Whereas if we had this promotional, this exposure, it's actually a direction of slow down before you hit there and maybe, you know, have some conversations with the Economic Development Board that'll get some of the brand name businesses to try and come in the city to try and help escalate some of these conversations we're having of all these ideas. We just came up with 4 ideas on the spot and then we haven't even gone into the analytics, just so you were with it.
Yeah, I think Reed also has been looking to hire an economic for months, and it would be interesting to see who takes in and steps in on that role. And the idea is just really just bringing in outside commerce and businesses. I know for Tractor Supply's coming in and, you know, things like that. So I think as we just create the message there is it's brandable, but it's buildable from here on out. And, you know, I know we're talking about a little bit behind the curve on things. I think that we are, you know, behind the curve on marketing and messaging this community. And, but I do think people are going to kind of forget and go on, and they'll be up here this summer looking for the next thing to do.
Just
When it comes to emergency notifications, is that something you would be able to do for the city as well as the police department or the fire department?
I mean, absolutely. We've been working on a recovery hub for the county right now. And so it's, you know, that's exactly what it's for, is working with OES, fire, police, disseminating that information, putting it on this hub and this platform. And I would see the same thing for Rita so down. So I mean, what we have going on down there on the river basin there, we all need to be on the same page. I think marketing, messaging, and what we see Carrie with the agency doing with, you know, Rita So Downs, and she's there, she's involved. You know, I go to every council meeting, county commissioner meeting, and involved on that, would do the same here. And so we can easily tell that message, but yes, I would like to see that. They've done a new Genesis system where you can actually subscribe, get text alerts to your phone if you subscribe through this emergency notification system that the county has. So whatever piggybacking and segueing now, to work with that.
We have the same thing,
Yeah.
but we need somebody to push it
Yeah.
to get it out there. That's our, she does Facebook, I do Facebook. We're not those people, we got other jobs. We need somebody to be the Carrie Glenn to do
Yeah.
the media stuff,
And take it and put.
That's why it's very important for y'all. I mean, y'all see what we, I'm getting calls, why didn't you send a message out yet? Well, I don't know, flood water up to my waist, I mean, we need the people to do that.
And it's funny because, we try to stay in your lane,
Yep.
economic development, information models. There's a lot of things that we can creep into. Again, this is our community. We live here. We want to take care of it. So whatever that entails within this scope, I think we're open for it and to do. And so I was kind of standing there that we're not gonna just leave it. In fact, we gotta get going on the co-op funding. I know that we've applied for July funding. But I mean, the survey's due in 3 days. And so it's nothing for us to hop on there and make sure that we have a good working relationship up there. But it's gonna give us some time to maybe cross some of our T's and dot some I's and get ready to go. We source all of the information. We've already worked and done New Mexico True Co-op programs. We have photographers that facilitate all the digital content. We apply it, on their platform, and then they actually disperse it. So it's not like I'm getting the 70, however much, $70,000, $30,000 to us. It's going, to the New Mexico Tourism Department, and they're doing it on their spends, their channels, which, I'm sure that they have some, more cost-effective avenues than we could procure.
And that your beginning of service date, would that be tomorrow's date or today's date, if approved?
Well, that brings up the next question of us waiting to start until July. And as we know, most patrons that visit are in about a 2-3 week planning. So before they come here 3 weeks out, they're planning their next trip. And so we wait till July, then we can consider that we're gonna have maybe a better August than we would. And so, we're ready to go to work today. We've done the services already. And so if we could start the services, we would prefer to get going now. Give us time to come up with all of our content and our media as we roll through the spring, the summer, all that stuff's ready to go. However, the way that these fiscal years work with municipalities, a lot of the times they're starting in July.
Mayor, I can run through the contract if you wanted to do that. The scope of work was taken directly from, Mountain Zombies, except that I did add some language in there under scope, A2. That if the application with New Mexico True is not accepted or granted for any reason, the city has the right to modify or terminate this agreement that's provided for herein. And then for the vendor, will New Mexico True's funding always be 75,000 or could it be less?
This was just an example, yes, budget.
All right, so I can just take out 75 and leave in the word funding. Okay. So the way this is written is $36,000 for New Mexico True to fund and facilitate management of the New Mexico True monies. And we'll leave that number, we'll just call it funding. The second scope of work is annual social media oversight service for $18,000. Again, the scope of work was taken directly from your handout. The compensation again is $36,000 for facilitation of the New Mexico True funding. And then $18,000 for social media management, payable and equal monthly installments. And so total amount of the contract shall not exceed $54,000, including gross receipts, tax and expenses. Does that sound right? Yes. Okay, just FYI. They go have to issue an RFP if they exceeded 60,000. So every month you're gonna invoice them and tell us what you're doing and we'll go from there. The rest of the compensation language there is just really the city's, what they want to see in your invoicing. The term will commence today, February 23rd, and it'll run through February 28th of 2027. Termination It can be terminated by either party for either reason, but I did include some language that if there is no New Mexico true funding, then we can terminate or modify. This contract is contingent on appropriations in the budget. So you might need a budget adjustment or a bar down the road if that hasn't happened already. The contract clarifies that you are an independent contractor. You cannot sign this contract. The rest of the language in here is pretty standard stuff. There's some confidentiality. You'll have to comply with the Governmental Conduct Act. Provide insurance policy, we can amend if it's in writing. And New Mexico law is the law that controls this thing. And I think we do have insurance limits in here for the insurance. We will of course indemnify the city for anything that arises as a result of this. And the city has the right to audit from time to time. So that's kind of it. It's kind of a standard professional services agreement with all the magic municipal language.
Okay. Right up our alley.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
And this expenditure was budgeted, so it will come out of our promotional advertising that currently has the balance of $140,342. It's within your financial impact.
And the only thing, need the street address for y'all for the notice,
103 Limber Lane.
LAMBER.
Yes. 88345.
That's-
Where is it? Sorry.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yes,
I do have another question. Your strategic planning campaign. Can you give us a little bit more on how that would happen? I've seen a lot of strategic planning. And we know, so I don't know if I'll say that, but, I have seen how they've done those. I've seen some come out of Roswell. And I'm interested to know what that would look like for us. And, I'm assuming that the boards that we have would currently fall within that.
Sure. I would also really like to lean in there with the lodgers tax. I think that they have a very good pulse of what's going on with those business owners and what they're looking for. So when it comes down to our strategic development, there would be working with the local lodgers. I think they're one of the most important ones to work with here. We do a lot of like A/B testing, and so we will put out some of our marketing effort. I know that they do it at the state side of things, where we'll develop ads, ad A, ad B. They'll submit it to a group, see which ad works better, and then we can kind of start channeling that. So, but really working with the community members, I think would be the best strategic development for us. Highlighting what we have. We talked about maybe highlighting some of the businesses. We get a little cautious with that, because you tell one story, you better tell all of the stories. And I know that the racetrack had a lot of that, energy went to that. So how can we work with the business owners, maybe a little bit more collaboratively, maybe listening to some of their messaging?
That's part of my question. How do you pull these businesses that are kind of working in the shadows? And aren't always willing to come out into the light?
Yeah, good question. If to know if those businesses, which ones exist, and if they would like our help, maybe we could put out something on those social media campaigns to tell them to get involved. I know that we do a big push for our tourism website, and hey, if your business isn't on this, come and jump on board. I would like their input, and I think that maybe we could run it through the lodgers tax for what it's there for. Maybe use some public inputs from them. But really for us is working, the campaign is going to be developed basically through New Mexico True. And so everything's going to have to be branded to their guidelines. And so any of our messaging that's going to go out on that co-op program is going to have to be, they just have stylistic points. They have, different seasons that we can use, really highlighting, winter, spring, fall, and summer, but really emphasis on summer there. Those would be things that we work on. So, but to answer your question, we really just send our photographers out to get the work. We really want to work on the special event side of things, the ones that we're already, adding money to. But right now, I don't know if there is a special event in Rio Downs proper currently. And so I think we have a lot of things that we need to kind of stem on, wouldn't you say? I don't know if that answers your question or.
Well, I would like to see something more, hands-on with, the boards, the committees. To get a read, I think all of the boards and committees have a reach into different areas of the community. And, as well as the departments. You know, what Parks and Rec sees, what police see is completely different from what fire sees. And how do we collectively bring everybody together and then push it out? Because there's no point in pushing out if we don't know, we have nothing coming of substance.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of the times have to relate back to you guys on what we disseminate and push out. You know, we can take the liberty ourselves to maybe, make some of those shares and, post things that are already out there in the community. But as far as if we have a press release that we would like to, get together, collaborate on and then release, I would feel more comfortable, speaking of what, council has to say versus, our opinion of what needs to be shared on the Facebook. But I agree with you, that interconnectivity between all of all of your agencies would be awesome. And typically what we see in the community is a public officer, information officer, a PIO, that rounds all of those opinions and ideas and puts them in and disseminates that, more kind of acting as that, but also acting as, tourist, more focused versus internal, citizen requests. We can easily handle that, but what we're doing is we're trying to get the tourists here and get them in. But I agree with you. Yeah, if we have issues with the fire or the police department, if something needs to be disseminated, we can easily share that on Facebook and across those platforms. When we develop flyers for recruitment and training, for firefighting and police departments or sheriff's department, and so we can help in multiple different ways. But I agree with you. It would be nice if there was one centrally located point person. So if you guys do have any of those fires, what's our messaging? What are we doing? And how are we getting that out? So probably another role to us is, get in contact with fire, parks and rec, police, and just keeping an open line of communication over there. So what we need is a PIO,
One person to help to.
one person to go through it all, go through.
And I think we're on the verge of finding that.
We're all back to you with that.
I don't know about that.
It's not being on two other weeks. It's not gonna work. Soon go.
Right. Got it. By default.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. So what you just said, that kind of goes back to my earlier question of two different tracks here. So the New Mexico True. This information we're talking about disseminating for the locally, that's totally separate from Mexico Tree website, because they've got a lot of restrictions on how things are done. So we're talking two different channels of information.
Yes, sir. Yes, and I think that when we started this and kind of initially made our proposal was just to kind of stay in the marketing side of things. And that our proposal was just to facilitate the New Mexico True program. It's come back to, hey, can we get some help on our Facebook? How do we, start driving traffic to Instagram, TikTok, these other platforms that are, getting a lot of traction. And so we've kind of expanded that a little bit, per our last conversation, the Lodgers tax. I don't think there's anything that we're not willing to help with. And as long as it's on the website or Facebook, social media platforms, it can really help them. I mean, if you, as far as being that point of contact for any maybe disasters or anything, we probably want to get that information disseminated to us, just protecting us and not controlling any type of narrative per se. We can really control the narrative of tourism come here. But I mean, as you know, in past, there's been times where mayors have told us not to come. And so we want to make sure that we're aligning to what you guys, as the, as the commissioners or city council and mayor, what you guys want us to.
What does that time frame look like? If something was to kick off, if we had a barricaded subject, how soon would that be posted to keep those people out of that area?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, as soon as, we get some sort of notification that, it's going on, I think there is a diligence there of, let's get the subject taken care of, and if we need to do a official press release on what happened. If there's some liability of putting it out before we apprehend the suspect, those are things that are maybe default to you, of like, hey, this is the message that we want to tell. We work with Mr. Wood, Sheriff Wood, and he'll go on Instagram and do it himself. And so how do we, that's him on his own channel, which isn't basically umbrellaed under anything. So he has, kind of have the right to go out there and say those things. I think if you're working for a municipality, I think we'd better if you could draft it, put it out in a,
We're gonna
appropriate
really
manner.
control. It's like the times when,
We don't have the power, we just can't put it.
well, yeah, we need to be able to control that narrative as well. Especially in something fluid, it's dynamic, there are things you don't want people to know.
Yeah, what we've done in the past, and this is just our experience with the county, is we would help draft a press release that would actually then go out shared on OES or on the sheriff's. It doesn't always work that way.
But it's a fast response.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and what I would say is, it's a 24/7 deal. I mean, we'll write up the deal, shoot me a text, give me an email, some sort of track record, and we can draft it up, make the meeting and put it out.
So one more question. I think just. So, listed here, you have 12 to 16 professionally planned and published posts. Would that, Selena, would that suffice? How often are you posting and how many posts per month are you putting out?
I have no projection or even way, like, I could count them, but it's a daily and afternoon deal where I'm checking and trying to share. And the content that I am sharing, it's solely for residents, just as far as like the natural disasters that we had, or just like the winter storm we just had. It's more of like, hey, preparedness from National Weather Service is projecting, or we have
Would those be a part of these 12 to 16? And are we gonna get, 2 weeks down the month and then we're capped out?
That's the minimum. So that's like, we like to do 3 to 4 a week. Weekends are, you don't get as much traction, so it's more like sharing and things like that. We would do more if there's like more going on that week, especially for the residents types of posts. We would do more. I mean, it's not gonna be like, oh, we're reached our cap. That's the minimum to make that fair. Yeah. We just so that, every other day, at least every week of the month, we're posting something. I mean, there might be some weeks we're posting 7 times more, or some are daily, maybe sometimes I've posted 3 times in Lake County before because there's different things and there's tourism.
Right,
So it's kind of what's going on, that's just the minimum to keep everything relevant.
okay.
And one thing we see is a bunch of agendas, and you go through Facebook. I mean, I don't know, I pull up agendas all the time. They're probably a little different. But as far as a visitor coming in, you're seeing agendas coming here. And so how do we kind of spruce that up? We've had to, kind of both cater to the tourists and to the citizens of Lincoln County. And I think you do that through some creative messaging, some cool, hey, county, the city commission meeting tonight. Then we can maybe put the agenda line item, and I'm not sure if that's, you have to post your a picture of your agenda, or if it can be links. So I think there's some creative ways that we can kind of clean up. But the Rita Downs Facebook page has got a lot of traffic. I think you guys have over 4,000 followers, and so that's a great place to start. The county had, we did a 3-month campaign and got 1,000 people so far. And so if you can think that we're generating 3,000 to 4,000 a year, we're doing that year after year, you can see where we can start getting some bigger accounts. But they gotta be controlled by, we would be a champion for that, but also having your control in on it is important. We want the city to be involved in it.
Well, Facebook is more of a residence, like that Viewpop, those do well on there. It's like the Instagram and TikTok that we're trying to get people that might not even know about Ruidoso Downs here. But we do sprinkle in, especially the wind safety, things like that, like the weather advisories are big right now for the spring. So, and we'll still do that, but Facebook would be a lot of that, like direct information, because a lot of the people that follow it live here. So that's the bigger information.
So what does that fall under?
For the
Is that
Facebook,
Social media man.
yes, that was meant as social media, which without the Mexico tree, we can modify that or take the socials, that separate thing, so that's something that would be constant and that would be part of all of that 18.
The Facebook will be quickly with all of the meetings that you have, lodgers tax, and then I also want to see that to your point earlier is all the different groups being able to be represented on that. So if we, have an economic development meeting, we want to make sure that's on there. We could do some, go in there and take pictures as this stuff progresses. How do we tell that message of our community? Because they could take the sunset pictures and they all work, but we've seen work really well. So what's happening behind the scenes? Or the county, some of our biggest posts are, what the commissioners were up to, or, a special service of a patron help make the rest, some of those type of things that we can kind of help showcase. Those are also, good traffic and good narratives to tell, not just the tourism.
Mayor, a quick question.
This one.
I think, your scope indicates that it's, a 12 to 16 professionally planned and published posts, that wouldn't preclude Selena from doing her thing on there.
Right.
Okay.
And we could even, tell you, Selena, just send an email, we can do that stuff, we can do a branded post, so now that every time it's not just an agenda item, this is a branded image that comes up, hey. We know that there's a city council meeting, the third Tuesday or whatever it is of every month, and then that's just a message, so it's a branded message. Similar to what, Rio also does, and just kind of work on some of that visual cues that people are seeing on paper. And then it's easy for us to go through. We have photographers that submit about 50 photos every month to us. We would extend down here and put our photographers on. He does a lot of photos around here. He actually has all of the pilot's license to actually fly the drones. So all that stuff is sourced legally, not from, just someone flying their drone down the way, which probably me.
Anything further?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the language that Dan is.
One more. The 10,000 for build maintenance on the Mexico trip, is that a one-time cost or that?
You're referring to the website build and website? Yes. And so that is working with Revise to facilitate a standalone tourist website that we're kind of referring to. This is kind of a projected budget because I did talk with Revise last week about a micro site. And they talked around several different numbers that this was kind of up to, depending, but I've seen and worked on some of their websites for about $5,000 that would kind of be like full encompassing of what we're trying to do. So is get Revise on board to build us this, standalone site that's branded with New Mexico True. And then this will be a website that we have to host every year that we choose to do New Mexico True co-op funds. So it's
that'd be a recurring cost.
that is a recurring cost that is outside of the spend with us. It's outside the spend with the state, the tourism department. That's direct to Revise to facilitate and host. And so good luck. I've bought all the domains already when we've gone through a lot of this. So like the Visit Ruidoso Downs, Discover Ruidoso Downs, however we want to brand that word before Ruidoso Downs, we can work on that. I know Discover Ruidoso has been taken up and they've used that. There's some other words I think we could use, not to copycat off of up there, and experience, discover. All of those words could probably be used to formulate a website domain that can be used and, start to push out. And that will be on our digital website, digital billboard, buys. And so most of our campaigns are going to be across that West Texas, it's going to have a, visit ruidosodowns.com on the bottom of the billboard. We're trying to get some direct links from those visuals on the road to our website. No QR scanning. We learned that you don't do that as you drive down the road. And not the safety measure. But how do we drive traffic, especially to that website that's showing what all the local events are. And so a good thing, to work with Carrie and their team on putting the IDX feed from their website to our website. And we've done that in the past with them. So all the events that are going in, let's say in Ruidoso, which, can include the surrounding areas, those are highlighted on our site. But then, if we have a special event here specifically, we can get them on the website as well.
Say right before they start a horse race.
Sorry?
Before they start a horse race, so a car race is gentlemen, start your engines. What do they say before a horse race? Yeah, don't put a horse race.
question, you got to answer.
That thing and
Yes.
it doesn't.
Yeah. Run to rid of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get them up your horse.
There, I have a motion on the floor.
Okay, so we have a motion and
Second.
we do have a second.
We're ready to vote.
Let's get it done then.
Counselor Proctor,
Aye.
Counselor Dennis. Aye. Counselor Lacewell. Aye. Counselor Taylor.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Good work, thank you.
Okay. That email chamber.
Let's go. You guys want to read through that?
Thank you.
All right, I think we're on item D. Approval of resolution number 2026-05. Resolution approving the budget adjustment. Request for the third quarter fiscal year 2026.
Mayor, members of, sorry. okay. Mayor, members of council, this particular budget adjustment, was recommended by our lodgers tax committee. As we are currently in third quarter and they're not, through with our budget adjustments, this single request would be to cover, their recommendation and joint.
What do you not? I ain't finance. I don't even have a paper in front of me. What it says.
I move,
I think we do, yes.
I move that we approve resolution number 26-05, a resolution approving the budget adjustment request for the third quarter. 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
I
I don't know. Didn't even know this was mine, so I'll be here.
Oh,
Lodger, I guess.
where are we spending?
It's 400,000 from lodger's tax to repairs for the museum. After we had some more insurance claims on the museum this summer, the insurance company will not cover the building with the damage that currently exists. We need to get some extra money that we got here to fix some of the things and then move forward.
What are some of the things?
There's settling, there's the settling is not structural, it's only aesthetics. But can't argue with insurance about that. They think settling, even though it's not structural, it's causing leaks, which it's not. But there's skylights that are leaking again. We need to look at taking the skylights completely out because we resell them, we pay people to resell them, they continue to. There's a paraffin wall in the front that's leaning off the building from drainage issues. So we're gonna have to get some equipment to get drop over in the mold, to get out, put a sort of drainage in there. To help the building drain.
Okay, so what specifically would you start with?
I don't know. Take it one piece at a time.
So,
Probably starts.
What do we need, what do we need to
Several
start with?
things, there's
Right.
also some issue with the fire suppression system that needs to have a redesign of it as well. I think pick one and go, they're all
Right,
necessary and they're all.
I'll have an engineer look at it and we'll start at the first phase of besides the fire system, where we want to start it.
okay. My concern is that we don't do one and affect the other that was already done or vice versa. And then have to go back and
We're not
redo
gonna-
that.
We've done really good at starting at the bottom and working our way up, you know, so all that stuff is good. We're using the exterior facade of the building, the drainage, we got done with it.
Okay. Yeah, cause I would hate for that. That poor skylight to come down. Yeah, no, I would hate to have that repaired and then, you know, you do other repair afterwards and then we have to go back and.
Exactly.
So I think we need to be strategic with what we're doing each time and. Hopefully stop the.
Totally agree,
Stop, the
totally
bleeding.
agree.
We need a bigger Band-Aid.
Take the Band-Aid off, Joey, seal it, and be done with it. Then you know it's right.
I really think we're gonna pull this guy off.
That's pretty much thing.
But it's gonna cost money, so that's what everybody's gotta remember. Can I pull that off and screw some furring strips down and put metal on it? You're right, I can. But if we get sued in the future, we lose.
Yeah.
So then you're paying an architect another 20, 30 grand to design how you do it to cover us on the other side. You know, it's frustrating, but it's what we have to do to protect us.
So again, I think it was mentioned earlier, you know, we've got to make these decisions, but we need to do them right, do them the right way. So much of, if you get the tour over there, so much of that wasn't for years done properly, and so we're kind of having to go back and again, get engineers to look at it and work on the structural end of things. So that when it's designed right, and it's not just for inscription. So,
You know, part of this will go, I've already got a quote, we've already got a PO ready, we got the design of the fire system. So we're ready to move forward. As soon as this is approved, we can send it, you know, it's 41,000 just to design the fire system. And they're estimating 200 to 300 to replace the fire system. So we'll see where we're at.
That's what we
gotta have to protect the people that's going in there.
That's right.
yeah, in order for it to be.
It's right
Not
from
counting the artifacts that the city owns is in there.
What was that?
State won't allow soap in that building.
Right.
Those.
About it, right?
Exactly. One thing at a time.
Okay, any other discussion? I would seek a motion to approve resolution 2026-05. But I have discussion.
Yeah, so we had the motion in a second.
Cool.
Counselor Taylor.
Aye.
Counselor Proctor.
Aye.
Counselor Laceland. Aye. Counselor Gonzalez. Aye.
Thank you, Papa.
All right,
Thanks,
so-
Joy.
Thank you, George. Now we move on to item E, confirmation of the appointment members of boards, committees for the city of Ruidoso Down. I apologize, it's taken a little bit for me to get it put together. But I wanted to make sure that whoever was on a committee wanted to be on it. It wasn't something that they weren't going to enjoy or participate in, so. Some thought went into it and some strategic moves to make sure that hopefully that works. And so, do I need to go through each one or?
There, it would be sufficient to have a motion and a second on the item, and then it would be easier to have a motion to approve. Each name be read, and then roll call on those specific committees, so that there, unless anybody has any
For each
challenge.
person or each?
Each person per committee.
So I need to seek a motion to confirm the appointed members of special boards, commissions, or committees for the city of Ruidoso Downs.
I'll make a motion, item E, confirmation of appointed members, special boards, commissions, and committees of the city of Riddle Down and the mayor rating.
I'll make a
Second.
second on that.
Okay, so beginning with Rogers tax. I added Judy Miller as a member of general public. Planning and zoning, or do we have to vote on each one?
The motion was for the entirety of the commission special, so we can have a roll call, and if there's no
Objections or?
objections to the current listing, then the roll call will be on the complete list that's been provided to the council.
Okay.
Sorry.
So planning and zoning commission, I've added Ms. Sturman. Economic Development Board, I've asked Councilor Taylor to be our designee for that. I've also spoken with Gary Williams and asked him to be a member as well. And he has agreed. Arts and Beautification Committee, the mayor's designee will be Scubier. And Judy Miller's agreed to be on that for a little while, she said. We can fill it, right? Green Creek Solid Waste Authority, I'm on that board, and I've asked Councilor Proctor to be the alternate. Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant Joint Use Board, I'm on that board as well. Currently Joey is on it as well, and Israel Chavez is the alternate. Consolidated Dispatch Joint Use Board, Ms. Lacewell to participate in that. And moving, Deputy Chief Hannah to the primary position and lieutenant to the alternate. The DWI council, that'll still be you two. And then the juvenile justice board have asked, Counselor Proctor to attend that as well. If not,
I'm not familiar with the juvenile justice board and I don't recall having one in the past.
so. I believe it probably was a fun for a little while. I used to go when I was chief. I don't know where it's been functioning. Yes, sir.
Councilor Lace, well, it's been briefed by Judge Brian. Judge here. Unfortunately, I've not been able to attend any meetings because the dispatch board meetings the same day at the same time. Councilor Proctor and I have talked about it, and Councilor Gutierrez and I have talked about it on the court side as well. That they're really pushing it into the juvenile justice statewide. But as far as being able to be to those board meetings, we just have.
So we may have to do some, we may have to do some working with those two committees to figure out better.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have been to the meeting that you guys were supposed to present. And Judge Brian does oversee it. There are different committees from the high school to the mountaintop youth project to all over. Just trying to kind of figure out how to deal with juveniles, how to try to keep them out of trouble, what are the options, and so that's kind of where they're steering forward, is just addressing what are the needs of the juveniles, how can we help them, how can we keep them out of the system, how can we help them if they are in the system. That's kind of their strategy, and so it's everybody, it's like the schools, the Ruidoso PD, the Downs PD, it's a mixture of everybody kind of in Lincoln County trying to come together to come up with resources and solutions.
Absolutely.
So it's a good committee. It really is a good committee. That could benefit us down here in the Downs as well.
Okay. I went to the first meeting here about a week and a half ago, 17th, well, just this past week. And they go from 12 to 1. People bring their lunch, sit and eat. And it's a open discussion. Whoever talked the loudest gets to speak. I want to see it a little bit different. That's something I can talk with them. They get things done. I'll see how they do. That they're talking about, it's never gonna be on the same date after March. Next meeting is the 17th. It comes at 12 to 1. It's on the same day that the deputy chief has to go to the police station and all that. Application. So if going to a different day, hopefully, I get the printout here after March, what it is, and I will get with the deputy chief and hopefully he'll be able to make that meeting with me. And it's usually always 12 to 1. I don't know if they pick that, so everybody can, it says bring you lunch and join.
Where is it located at?
In the, you know, where Region 9 is, the old McGarry studio, it's on the west end. And you have to knock loud because they keep the door locked until more people come up.
We can get the dispatch board meetings to go.
Yeah, actually, they're work together and get something figured out.
Well, like I said, they're gonna change the dates. And while I was told by Mr. Jackson that it's not gonna be on the same day every month. It's just gonna be randomly changed. And it's gonna fit what the judge Ryan's schedule is. So the whole thing is working off his schedule will be right. So that's where it's at.
Any further discussion, changes you'd like to see made?
I would like to, again, inform the community that there are spots available on some of these committees. And to reach out to the mayor, via email or make an appointment. I'll drop in a letter of interest. And he will consider it for, the committees that we have already.
I would like to add to that, you know, if you have something that's close to your heart, something you want to see change or help with, please, by all means. Participate, that's what makes this work, so.
As well, if you're not. If you don't have the time to be part of the committee, you know, just volunteering for one event. Or reaching out, hey, I happen to have this day available, I'm sure there's things that need to be done for all the committees and. Most of us that are on committees, we all work, so our time is limited, but we appreciate the help from the outside and we hope to get a lot more traction from. The community.
Anything further? Get a roll call, please.
Counselor Proctor,
Aye.
Counselor Leesville, Counselor Taylor,
Aye.
Counselor Gutierrez.
Aye.
I'd like to say thank you very much for everybody that's, been on the committees and has been on the committees for some of you for years, so. Thank you for all that you do. And now my favorite one of the evening, item 11. Let's adjourn.
Okay.